And we're back. Happy Friday. It's Friday night. Pro Day was awesome. That's what we're talking about tonight. Y'all see I have on my buff jacket. But tonight, in addition to my buff jacket, what am I wearing? New Orleans Mardi Gras beads. Can anybody guess why I'm wearing Mardi Gras beads from New Orleans? All right, so we're going to give everybody a chance to join us. We have a great show planned for tonight. And I, for one, am thrilled. And let's just give it a minute. We're going to play some music. And we got a video for you. A lot of commentary following Pro Day. Or Ain't Hard to Find NFL Showcase, which was a huge success. All right, let me put on some music while I wait for the squad to show up. Now, if you're in the background, understand that we already have a new episode. I did a reaction. What did I react to? The NFL Combine, not the NFL Combine, the NFL Showcase for CU while it was happening. So go check it out. The Listen Up podcast by What She Said Sports, episode 4 is now up. If you're on the go, doing some spring cleaning or doing some fun traveling, or maybe at the gym, check out Listen Up from What She Said Sports. It's the audio podcast. You can listen to it on YouTube, and I put together a playlist for podcasts. Just go to What She Said Sports, click on playlist, click on Listen Up, click on episode 4, and enjoy. All right, let's get some music going. We'll play the intro. We haven't played it in a minute. All right, let me know if y'all can hear the intro. So, Miss Nia emailed me, so let me email her back and tell her I got her email. She won our first Buffs trivia. So I have a prize for her. We shall see. All right, we just chilling out, waiting for the squad to show up.
Hit that like, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes, together we rose, reaching higher and higher.
Hello, hello, hello. Let's see who's in there.
From hoops to the griddle.
It's Friday night.
Champions rise and together we never fall. Join the fam, we celebrate every win. What she said, let's meet where the passion begins.
Just waiting for the squad to show up.
Join the movement, let's show.
Responded to Miss Nia, who won the trivia contest. I'm waiting on somebody to tell me why it is that on 404 Day, I chose to wear Mardi Gras beads. Hint, hint, it has something to do with football. Colorado football. Yep. Okay. I'm just telling Miss Nia, thank you for the email and for the kind words. Oh, it's 3 of us. All right. Just about time. Waiting on 2 more people. We can get going. All right. Let's see. All right. So let me see where I want to start. Okay. So I told you already that I did a audio podcast, a reaction to. I call myself memorializing the moment for CU's Pro Day. Now, I don't remember if CU had a Pro Day last year. Maybe it's because we went 4-8 last year. We didn't have a Pro Day, but we had one this year because we went 9-4. So we should have one next year. So, excuse me. So what I'm thinking is this was the first CU Pro Day in the Coach Prime era at Colorado. So that means we probably earned the pro day. I mean, we do have a Heisman winner. We also have the number one player in the NFL draft. So, I mean, it only makes sense. Now, I watched the pro day as it was happening. I thought it was a genius idea, great marketing, not only for the football program, but for the university overall. Coach Prime has truly transformed the excitement and the interest surrounding Colorado, right? So, one of the things that happened after Coach Prime signed his contract was what? The 2026 recruits, it is reported, are knocking on the door to get in, trying to knock the door down to get in. We talked about on the What She Said podcast on one of our live streams, was there an impact, a negative impact to the long negotiating cycle for Coach Prime's contract? And we said there was, and come to find out, there was. That's why there's so much interest now, from the class of 2026. Uh-oh. I have no idea why this happens when I'm live. It does not happen when I'm not. So that's why there's so much interest from the 2026 class. Once Coach Prime signed his lucrative long-term contract, the students, the players are like, hey, he's going to be there. I want to go to see you, right? What I also liked was today in Coach Prime's press conference that he thanked the players who took a chance on CU. What does he mean by that? Well, in year one, nobody knew what to expect. We just knew the prime effect was moving to Colorado from Jackson State. And a lot of people went with that. I'm one of those people. And players hopped in the portal to go play for Coach Prime, but it didn't go so well. So some players hopped back in the portal, but yet we still got some more players. And then what? Year two of the Coach Prime era. We do better, 9-4. But our QB is still suffering, right? So I wondered if there was a negative impact from all of the sacks that Shedeur took. And I think it was reported that he was the most sacked QB in FBS this year. And I thought about it. We still got Juju Lewis. And we still got Caden Salter, who transferred from Liberty, who had myriad of offers. He could have went anywhere. He could have went to Syracuse. He could have went to this school, that school. He came to CU. So for the players in the first year that took a chance on CU, Coach Prime said thank you. For the players that hopped in the portal in year two after we went 4-8, Coach Prime said thank you. For the players that stuck, Travis, who's really family, Coach Prime said thank you. And today at Pro Day, I couldn't get the photo I wanted of the players who were there to support Shedeur. The elite wide receiver corps showed up to support Shedeur and Draylon Miller. Shout out to Draylon Miller, who bossed up. We talked about Draylon staying behind, not going on spring break, working out every day. I noticed it. Well, guess what? I wasn't the only person that noticed it. He got hella exposure today because he was one of the wide receivers that Shedeur was throwing to. I was like, you go, Draylon. He's not even NFL eligible until 2027. But he stayed back, made the sacrifice, dug in, did the work, became the chosen one. So alongside Travis, Shedeur, LaJohntay, Jimmy, and Will Shepherd, there was Draylon Miller catching passes from Shedeur. I mean, that's a hell of an opportunity. And if I'm a recruit and I'm watching this and I know who Draylon Miller is, and I'm like, he can't even go to the NFL, and he out here on the field catching passes from about to be a NFL QB alongside the Heisman winner, who's going to be an NFL two-way player, and three additional NFL players. One might be a late first rounder. I'm going to see you. So ain't hard to find. Showcase was a huge success on different levels. This was the first one, and I know there'll be another one next year. Shout out to Coach Prime for this together. I heard one announcer on some random channel trying to ask, well, where did the name come from? Showcase. We normally call it a pro day. I'm like, well, get with the program, sir. Times have changed. Move along, move along. So I loved it. I saw Miss Constance Milner Schwartz in her pink Her pink CU sweatshirt, the only pink one I've seen. And I know there are others, but she wears one. The boss. I'm like, I know she had something to do with that. She always has excellent ideas. When her and Coach Prime link up on what to do next, it's always spectacular. That's why she does his branding. Hey, let's see who's in here. Hey, Gracie. Hey, Regina. Hey, happy Friday. So y'all enjoyed the pro day. Yeah, the pro day was good. The pro day was good. So I got some good footage. We got some good topics to talk about. But y'all gonna have to hold on for a second because I gotta sneeze. Give me a minute. Let me play a song, and I'll be right back. Oh, I don't know why when I think because the door is open and the pollen count is high. I'm gonna have to close the door. So give me one second. Okay, and I'm back. All right, so now that the door's closed.
Break it down, talking sports, hard hustle. Where the crowd, subscribe to the journey. Don't sleep on the grind. Hit the like button.
All right, y'all. So I'm back. So let's get into this video. Let's see if we can. Let's see. I don't know if y'all gonna be able to see it if I do it like this. Okay. All right, so here we go. All right, so there's a couple of topics on here that we're going to discuss. So what I'm doing right now is I'm essentially just playing the video. I'll let it play, then I'll stop it, and then there's several topics that we will discuss. This is, I sped it up intentionally because it's a long video. All right, this is a good place to start. Okay, so this is Chidozie. Y'all know who Chidozie Nwankwo is, right? Transferred in from University of Houston, my alma mater where I got my master's, and also where my beautiful daughter is graduating in a few weeks. And Chidozie is, hold on one second, let me see if I can swap this. Chidozie, okay. Chidozie at Big 12 Pro Day benched 25 reps at 225 pounds. Now, one thing about the benching, it's different from the 40-yard dash. The times can be variable, right? So I think at the combine, I think it was LaJohntay and Jimmy Horn Jr., who I call shoe bottoms because that's all I see when he run. He's so fast. They had two. Remember, they had two times, a 4.45 and a 4.46 or something like that. So with the 40-yard dash, the times can vary. Your performance can vary based on different variables, right? But the bench press is different. It's going to always be the 225 pounds. The question is, how many reps can you do? At Big 12 Pro Day, Chidozie, who was already recognized by the Las Vegas Raiders as being one player with a lot of potential that they kind of keeping their eye on, Chidozie benched 225 25 times, right? So 25 reps. Well, the man has been hard at work. You know, we talked about he posted his content with his day in the life of getting ready for the NFL draft. Well, he did 30 reps today. So that's what y'all see when you see him. I just sped it up. But he did 30 reps, 5 more than the Big 12 Pro Day. That says a lot. That says he's been working to be better, and he did it. 30 reps at 225 pounds. That's a lot. So shout out to Chidozie for upping his game. He bossed up. You know, I don't know if he was happy with the 25 reps, but that was probably about average because I watched somebody else work out and they were like 20, 25. He hit 30. So shout out to Chidozie for doing the work and being seen today. Now, one thing I wanted to say too is that, see, you had some dogs. Just from watching Shedeur throw today, Shiloh ran today, Chidozie did his bench press, BJ Green ran today. I did not see two people. I didn't see Cameron Stillman-Craig and I didn't see Justin Mayers. They were the only two people. Oh, I didn't see Shane Cokes. And there was some of the other guys because we said it was about 16 people. So what I did see was Mr. Will Sheppard that you're seeing right here on the screen. Will Sheppard on his vertical at the Big 12 Pro Day was 38.5. I want you to know for wide receivers, the vertical is different based on your position. The vertical for wide receivers is like 33.5. So Will Sheppard actually today, his vertical was 40.5. He went up from 38.5 to 40.5. The average is 33. Maybe 35, but the average really is 33 for NFL wide receiver, and he hit 40. So it's not a surprise that there was reported that Will Sheppard, who impressed everybody today with that 40.5 vertical leap, which is an insane number, had a long, lengthy conversation with the Denver Broncos. So let's keep Will Sheppard in our prayers. Let's see if he goes to Denver. And if he don't go to Denver, he's going somewhere. I posted on Instagram, Will Sheppard just secured a spot on an NFL roster. What did we hear? We heard nothing but good things when he was at the Shrine Bowl. We were even shocked that he was playing in the Shrine Bowl. Remember that one-handed catch? So when you look at certain pictures of Will Sheppard, you'll see him. His height and length is lanky, as they call it, but he's extended over the defensive back. That's not somebody you're going to leave undrafted. So Will Sheppard is getting drafted. Later on, we have to figure out what round. But the fact that he's getting drafted, I'm sure he's happy. I'm sure having that lengthy conversation with Denver really probably made him feel really good. I think he ran, I don't know what he ran. I don't even know if it mattered. I mean, I know it does, but it couldn't have been too bad because, you know, he ran a Big 12 Pro Day. All people are talking about today is how impressive his insane vertical jump was. So shout out to Will Sheppard for that. And let me see the comments. Let's see. It said, I caught the NFL podcast replay of Pro Day. The guys were ready and steady. Yes, they were. Tapping in. Hey, Jen, how you doing? Tapping in. Hey, everybody. Kiel, how you doing, Kiel? Family and friends. All right, so we're talking about Pro Day. There's a video that y'all are just going to see cycling through, and we're going to talk about some of these topics. All right, so let's talk about why I'm wearing these Mardi Gras beads with my Colorado Buffalo jacket. So before Pro Day started, there was discussion that the New Orleans Saints have entered the chat and have interest in Shedeur Sanders, right? And the scenario goes, the New Orleans Saints would trade up from like number 9 to the Vegas pick, which is number 6, to get Shedeur. Now, we talked about the Saints on this podcast. We talked about the Saints actually being a contender for Shedeur. But let's now talk about, is it a good fit? Now, I put a poll out earlier. We'll have to come back and check on it probably tomorrow because I just put it out later on today. And I guess you could say like the first impression that I get from people in New Orleans is that, yes, this is something we want. The city will go crazy. And you saw on this one picture when it come back up, it's Shedeur and Coach Prime. Who that for Shedeur and the Dirty Birds for Coach Prime? Coach Prime's legacy as a Falcon would be essentially Shedeur's potential legacy for the New Orleans Saints. And then the fact that the Falcons and the Saints have this rivalry that had been a rivalry since I was like little bitty. Been to Atlanta many times, which is probably why I live here. So I was saying earlier, I said it would be crazy if Shedeur went to the Saints. If they really are going to draft him, it would be so good for the city. I mean, for Shedeur to go to the New Orleans Saints after the Derek Carr legacy, which is just faltering. And I think for Mardi Gras, y'all may have seen me post a video where they were in the store and like nobody wanted to buy Derek Carr's jersey. It's like the city is like, we just sick of this. I told y'all how on the Mardi Gras float, they had a caricature, a statue, if you will, paper mache, of the coach that was recently fired with a pit of fire under his feet with a black eye because they were sick of it. They just sick of the whole thing. So Shedeur coming to New Orleans will be a boost. So in Coach Prime's press conference, he was wearing, of course, his black sweatshirt with the gold CU. and they asked him what he thought about where Shedeur would go, this, that, and the other. Before he closed the press conference, his comment was, "Oh, and I like these colors," talking about the black and gold. Some people thought it was Pittsburgh colors. I'm like, no, that's the wrong gold. Those were Saints colors. And then I remembered. So do y'all remember on this podcast when Shedeur was at the combine and had just arrived in Indianapolis, he had on a backpack. And on the backpack was what? A few hats from NFL teams because he had completed interviews. The teams were the Minnesota Vikings, the New Orleans Saints, and the Cleveland Browns. So let's think about that. Now that some time has passed, the New Orleans Saints are now in the hunt for Shedeur. I said I thought it would be Jalen Milroe. That's what I said initially. I thought it would be Jalen Milroe. But then after the whole Matt Stafford thing and the Geno Smith signing the lucrative contract, $75 million for 2 years, I told y'all I was lukewarm on Vegas because I think Shedeur needed to go somewhere where he could start, right? Enters the New Orleans Saints. So I told y'all that Kellen Moore wanted to get a quarterback, but it seemed that the GM had some type of loyalty to Derek Carr. And then I was like, yeah, this is why I wasn't 100% early on Shedeur, because that's team politics. You have a new GM. I mean, you have an old GM, and then you have a new OC. So we're going to see what happens. I like it. The city of New Orleans seems to like it. When you talk to different Saints fans, when you look at different platforms, Coach Prime seems to like the black and gold, and that wasn't old gold. That was old gold. That wasn't Pittsburgh gold. So it's a possibility. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, it's possible that the New Orleans Saints could get Coach Prime's son, Shedeur Sanders. She said, oh, Lord, are you going to move back to New Orleans? I was like, it's a possibility. At least half of the year or something. I'm like, because, oh, my God. Like that, y'all don't understand. Like Atlanta, New Orleans. And then think about this. Not only would it be Coach Prime's legacy as a Falcon, which is a rival to the New Orleans Saints, and then Shedeur would be what Coach Prime was to the Falcons, to the Saints. You got the Sanders family and the Manning family both in New Orleans. That's huge. That's football legacy. Come on now. And the Sugar Bowl is played every year in New Orleans. And I told y'all last year, who did I want to go to the Sugar Bowl? UT versus Colorado. The Mannings versus the Sanders. And now it is possible that Shedeur Sanders could land in Manning territory. The New Orleans Saints. That's huge. Y'all just don't know. It's huge. So that's why I'm wearing my Mardi Gras beats. So, it would be Dirty Birds versus Who Dat, and Shedeur would be Who Dat. Coach Prime said he loves it, right? And so we just going to have to kind of like wait and see what happens to that. All right, so let's talk about something else that Coach Prime talked about today. All right, so, let me see. We got a comment. Oh, hey, Caroline, how you doing? I was over the moon watching Will today. Yeah, he was good. He was really good. Hold on, y'all. I gotta move something. He was really good. All right, so let's see. Y'all gonna realize I'm a perfectionist. So, okay. So, what's the other comment? Yeah, no, Will Shepherd was a star today. So he earned that conversation with the Broncos. And that would be nice if he went to the Broncos. I don't know if everybody seemed to have left Colorado, but he's familiar with Colorado. So I think he'd probably be happy no matter where he went. But he really did well on his vertical jump, and it didn't look like it required that much effort. So imagine if he was running and then he did a jump. I mean, it probably wouldn't be straight up, but the point is maybe it could. But that's why he can make those catches, and some of them one-handed over these defensive backs. Kiel said, are they going to cut David Carr? Is it Derek Carr? I think it's Derek Carr, his brother, and restructure a contract or buy him out or trade him or something. See, that's the whole thing. Okay, before they had Kellen Moore, it was said that they might get a second-round pick in Jalen Milroe, right? I talked about that early on. And I understood that because that meant that that was after Kellen Moore got to New Orleans, and he said he wanted a new quarterback, but the GM was like, Now, when you got the OC and the GM at odds, and then the team just hired the OC, I don't know who wins that battle. But to me, the GM got to fall back. And it was said that the only person that liked the coach that they had and fired was the GM. And he's also the same person that is either responsible for Carr being there or still being in New Orleans. So they're probably ready for him to go too. I don't even know who their GM is. So that's team politics, and I don't want Shedeur to get caught up in that. That's why I wasn't 100% on New Orleans. I absolutely love the idea for everybody involved, but New Orleans got to get it together, and that GM seems to probably be in his feelings because they already fired the coach that he liked, and then now they're trying to move away from the QB that he either brought in or that he likes. So he kind of need to fall back a little bit and let the team progress, and then that would be like, open pathway for Shedeur. But team politics has to be worked out first. Otherwise, I think New Orleans should be a go. It says, so I don't know what they're gonna do with it. Anything's possible. Who was it on this podcast that said, I think it was James. James said, this draft, we're not gonna know what's gonna happen, and we are gonna be totally surprised as to who gets picked. He said something about the 4 minutes in the green room is going to be very telling, I guess, before each pick. Because honestly, they're still saying, even though the Titans seem to be in love with Cam Ward, that they still probably are going to get Abdul Carter. I'm like, what is this about? So James is right. We don't know what's going to happen. But I like the Saints for Shedeur. That's all I can say. Barring some kind of politics, they need to work that out, though. So he going somewhere, and I'm thinking it might not be Vegas. There was talk about Shedeur going to the Giants today. Now, get this. There was one random big box network that made the comments. It's not a good sign that the Giants head coach wasn't at CU's pro day. I got a picture with him standing there talking to Coach Prime. You see how they so ready to be negative? They just loud and wrong. I had to look and zoom in, and I saw the man's name. I said, that's the person that they said wasn't even there. So they were actually hypothesizing, well, the Giants probably not going to get Shedeur because with the head coach or the GM or whatever he was, I think it was a head coach, with the head coach not being at CU Pro Day, that's not a good look. The man is photographed having a conversation with Shedeur, and his badge says Giants. Some of these YouTubers actually, I think, are more qualified to actually do some of the analysis and the reporting for some of these channels and these networks. It's just terrible out here. The negativity coming from the NFL Network, who was actually hosting the pro day, had their own analysts and announcers and reporters. They were so negative, the comments ate them up, self-included. And people were asking, why y'all being so negative at Shedeur's pro day? All they were doing was putting Shedeur down in this for Cam Ward. And people asked, why are y'all talking about Cam Ward? This is Shedeur's pro day. So it's like they kept comparing Shedeur and Cam, but found nothing but negative about Shedeur. I was like, dear NFL, why do you send these bobblehead announcers that are disguised? They're haters. Why are you sending these haters disguised as reporters? One guy, he ought to be ashamed of himself. He was basically saying, Shedeur doesn't need to be out here today doing any like razzle dazzle, just stay in the pocket because that's your best suit. And somebody, thankfully, came along and talked about the Baylor game. I was like, I don't know where this person came from and who found them or texted them and said, hey, you are needed over here. Thank you. It was 3 of them. They were so negative. They had to get somebody who wasn't an announcer, like a little guest, to come and add some actual factual information. I don't understand why the NFL Network wouldn't just be neutral. Why does it seem like they're trying? And I said, this is supposed to be neutral analysis, but it's actually a failed attempt at sabotage. And the reason why it was a failed attempt is because the 4th person who wasn't a part of the announcer crew, somebody had to text that person and say, come over here. I think one of the one of the people probably in earshot could hear all the negativity. And somebody's reading the comments as we're posting them. And they're probably reading it, realizing, hey, this has too much of a negative slant. So I don't get the motivation for the NFL Network. It's not a good look because it's the NFL. Why they will be so negative. So that leads me to what you see in front of me. Okay, Coach Prime had a conversation during his, I guess the topic was about why all the negativity on these young players. And I was like, he said something, and I think he might be on to something. He said there was a time, he said, y'all didn't treat the players like this. He said the players weren't attacked. He said, but it seems like ever since players started being paid NIL, he said, you guys, he said, you are like the reporters. He said, he was talking to them. He said, y'all seem to think it's open season on them. So because they're getting paid, you think it's okay to tear them down. Whereas when they weren't getting paid, you didn't have anything to say about them. But now that they're getting what they deserve, let's just go ahead and tear them down. And we were talking about this at home, and I said, Shedeur was the highest paid NIL player last year at $6 million. It was Travis at 3.6 that he signed his Adidas contract. Then he bumped up to about $6 million just under Shedeur. But Shedeur was the highest paid NIL player. But I know it's not solely NIL, but I kind of get it. And as much as they seem to like Travis, I want y'all to understand something about Travis. Travis is a two-way player. He probably could play in the NFL both ways. But just like they hated on him and didn't want him to get the Heisman, but eventually they couldn't deny it. Eventually they won't be able to deny his two-way play. But one of the things I find very interesting about their pressuring Travis to primarily be a cornerback, Travis is more impactful as a wide receiver. And wide receivers make more money. So Travis was out there today, came back to Boulder because they don't live in Boulder anymore. It seems like everybody's gone for the most part, which kind of makes sense, right? You're done. So he came back, and a question that the three bobblehead announcers were asking, well, why would Travis come back? Why would Travis come back? He's back, taking passes from Shedeur. I don't know why he would come back. So Coach Prime, this actually was a question in his press conference. He said, these guys are family. He said, Travis, Shedeur, Jimmy, LeJounte, Shedeur, they're family. He said, so they're going to show up for one another. So Travis worked out as a wide receiver today. Why? Because that's what he should be. And then a question was put to Coach Prime. Well, since you know him so well, what do you think he should primarily play? He said, well, I know Travis going to want to play wide receiver if he can only play one way. And I agree with that. I do too. Wide receivers make more money. So I don't know why they forcing Travis the corner, on the surface, just like with Cam Ward, somebody that they largely ignored until recently, that they only pit him against Shedeur. They give the impression that they're really interested in Cam and they like him and this, that, and the other, and they're propping him up. No, they're not. They just trying to put him here so they can put Shedeur here. And Shedeur is very smart. He was asked recently where he want to go. He said, it don't matter. You know what that does? It take the fight out. They can't try to tear him down because Vegas isn't his preference. They don't know if it is or not. He just say it don't matter. So now they can't talk about Geno Smith being there, getting a 2-year contract, and Shedeur is going to be second. They still want to talk about the Giants, but it's really, really hard to, because why? They got Russell Wilson and they got Jameis Winston. What they going to do with Shedeur? And we know they want Arch Manning. So the plans that the media has for Shedeur are not working out. When Shedeur took that picture with Geno Smith, that was brilliant because they couldn't pit them against each other. Once they realized Cam and Shedeur were friends, they couldn't pit them together, but they kept trying. And let me tell you the angle they kept using. Cam Ward is going number one. Going number one in the draft doesn't make you the best player. It just means that this team who the worst team actually has the first pick, and they might like you. Tennessee still doesn't know who they want to draft. You think it will be Cam Ward, right? You think Shedeur want to go to the Titans? You think he want to go to the worst team? No, none of these players want to go to the worst team. Or they end up getting sacked 65 times like Caleb Williams. or 63 times or 62 times like Bryce Young. So that's not a bad thing to not go first. And for Shedeur to come out and say, it doesn't matter where I go. Cool. Now, with Coach Prime saying he liked the black and gold, that might give them something to hold on to. But, who cares? Let's just talk. We're 20 days out. We're 20 days out from the draft. So here's what's getting ready to happen now. Shedeur has a private meeting with the Titans, right? Shedeur and Travis have dinner with the Browns. So I talked about this at home today. I said, I think the Browns might be trying to figure out how to get Shedeur and Travis. Does anybody see a scenario where the Browns could draft Shedeur and Travis? They have 11 picks. They have 11 picks. But if they don't have 2 picks in the first round, then I don't see how they could get Shedeur or Travis. Unless they get another pick because maybe Tennessee want to trade. Tennessee said they don't know what they want to do. They still interviewing Shedeur. To me, I don't know if they'll lock on Cam, because if they weren't at Pro Day today, and supposedly they weren't, they skipped Pro Day because there's nobody else they wanted to see because they have private workouts with whom? Travis and Shedeur separately, but they do have private meetings. So who knows what the hell Tennessee gonna do? I mean, who really knows? That's what James is saying. Like, it's true. I mean, at one point, it's like you could kind of see based on need, but they're not even picking based on need. I don't know what Tennessee is doing, but I don't know the Tennessee franchise. So we're not gonna try to predict what they're gonna do. I'm gonna do my own. After CU's Pro Day and seeing most of the people work out and how well they did, above average results. Shiloh ran a 4.47. And then I think he ran like a 4.52, 4.47, 4.52. Jimmy Horn Jr. unofficially hit a 4.40 flat. So I call him Jimmy Shoe Bottoms Horn, because when he running, all I see is his shoe bottoms. He's that fast. I posted about him on Instagram today. I believe Jimmy Horn Jr. should be a late first round draft pick. I don't want to hear nothing about his height. He has a 38-inch vertical. The average for wide receivers is 33. He has a 38-inch vertical. At the combine, I think he hit a 38.5, and he ran a 4.40. Come on now. That's late first round pick. And he got hands. He did exceptionally well today, catching passes from Shedeur. They all did. They did really well. LeJounte, people talked about his ability to run routes is actually better than Travis's. So there's some people that think Jimmy Horn Jr. is a better wide receiver than Travis. I still think Travis is a more impactful wide receiver. And I do think because wide receivers make more money, if he can't play both ways, don't slide him the corner. Let him play receiver. He can line up across from McMillan if they go to the Patriots. It said, I noticed Travis didn't do a press conference today. Oh, I didn't notice that. I didn't watch everybody's press conference today. I don't know if I saw Travis. You might be right. I don't know if I saw Travis. You might be right. It's okay because CP had the pregame show network to cover it to offset the NFL network haters. That's who I should have been watching. Shout out to Coach Prime for that. I love the pregame network. I wish I would have even thought about it, because I actually posted, you know what? This video is better on mute because this is ridiculous. But it was good to see, and I'm glad I said it, because I think I got like 70 likes on it like that. And people were coming back to my, this is very weird that they're so unprofessional that they're trying to tear Shedeur down at his pro day. And they keep talking about Cam, and they only talked about Travis. Travis was just catching passes. He was just working out as a wide receiver. It's like they did not want to talk about Shedeur, and when they did, it was negative. I don't even understand why the NFL would want that. The NFL, out of any of these other networks, should be neutral, but they can't find it to be neutral. At home, I said, does this have anything to do? I said, how can they do this to Shedeur? Didn't Coach Prime work for this network for like 20 years? Or was that a different network? But he was in the business. And then how do you tear down it's like they had a concerted effort to try to tear him down by using Cam Ward. And it's probably not going to affect anything. It's too late for that. It's too late for that. And after Shedeur, who people walked away with saying has the best deep ball in college football, how about that for not having a strong arm? You can't have the best deep ball in college football and have a weak arm. So all of that negativity didn't change a thing. Just like people allowing Shedeur to get sacked, setting Shedeur up to get sacked year one, right side, year two, what did it do? What, you kept him off the Heisman stage? I saw him hold the Heisman. He was still there with Travis. He's still getting drafted. He's still the best player in the draft. He has situational experience. He probably has seen everything. He's had 6 OCs, best deep ball in college, most sacked, but still has the most the best accuracy and passing touchdowns. I don't know if you could ask for a better person. This is the person that they should be celebrating. But this goes into what I talked about yesterday. When I talked about Anthony Edwards, what did I say? I said, black men, y'all got to be careful out here. Well, who they trying to force on you and your youth that look like you, because it's some good dudes out here, but they trashing them or they ignoring them. Think about Cam and Shedeur. They largely ignored Cam until they wanted to start pitting him against Shedeur. They trashed Shedeur. He's had no character issues, never been arrested, don't have no crazy girlfriend or fiance, nobody embarrassing in public. He ain't shacking up. He don't have 4 baby mamas by 4 different women and abandoning the 4th child. None of that. And this is who they trash. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. They take the one with the character issues and put him before you and try to have you, whether you know it or not, to subconsciously align with his behavior. 4 baby mamas and 4 kids under the age of 5 and abandoning the last one. They want you to accept that this is who men that look like Anthony Edwards are. Meanwhile, they tearing down Shedeur Sanders. And what did he do? Other than be raised by a father who gonna give it to you straight and be there for you to protect you and nourish you and socially and emotionally parent you and love on you. But they want Anthony Edwards to be the face of the league, and they want to tear Shedeur down and come out and say Shedeur Sanders is not who the NFL wants as a quarterback. Why the hell not? Because he's good character and you want flawed character? What, you want a storyline? 4 different baby mamas by 4 different women and he abandons the 4th? That's what you want? You see how that works? But when it comes to players that are white, they don't want that. It's probably out there. I'm sure it is. That's not what they choosing. It's the same thing when it used to be the news, when people used to actually watch it, and there was something that happened in an impoverished area, and they go get the worst person with the worst grammar skills, who was just animated as hell to try to explain what happened out of a crowd of people. Always trying to highlight the worst and tear down the best. So I don't understand the NFL Network. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. One of those guys was black, and he ought to be ashamed of himself. And kudos to whoever went and got this other person who came over and started talking about the Baylor game and how Shedeur scrambled. It's crazy to say he a pocket passer when all he did for 2 damn years at CU is run for his damn life. And they act like he didn't have film at Jackson State. It's undeniable. They went to the Celebration Bowl. I don't give a damn if they didn't win. They got there, and they hadn't been there in 12 years, and they went twice. And it took them a minute to get back there. And yeah, they won, but guess what? Coach T.C. Taylor comes from Coach Prime's coaching tree. So again, kudos to Coach Prime. It's obvious watching the guys work out today, Coach Prime has some dogs on that team. But we knew that already. But they want to choose one. And even the one they chose, Travis, even that one, tried to deny him the Heisman initially. Until some conversations had to be had, until he was undeniable. See, some people can get away with being mediocre. Travis had to be undeniable to get the Heisman because he went to CU. That was supposed to dissuade players from going to CU. Just like all of the talk last year was supposed to slow down recruiting and did, because Coach Prime might leave. Then his contract isn't done. Then the lingering contract process. And now class of 2026 is banging on the door. They're going to be players who passed on Colorado, who going to wish they had come to Colorado. Just the showcase alone, the innovation of doing it, the ingenuity of putting it together, and it being a success, whether people want to admit it or not. The media was so taken and dialed in with Shedeur throwing. Before you know it, they were supposed to be standing back. They had formed a U-shaped arch around him because they were trying to get that close. That's like leaning in. That's exactly what leaning in looks like. You keep inching closer and you keep inching closer because you're trying to get a good look. You don't want to miss anything. And that's the person you think the NFL don't want to see. But then you want to know if Anthony Edwards should be the face of the league. See how that works? So I think Coach Prime was on to something when he said, when players started earning NIL, y'all started tearing them down, because before players were off limits. So essentially what that means is, well, we didn't want you to have NIL, but now that you have it, we're going to make your life hell. You see how that works? So shout out to Shedeur for actually being strong enough to deal with all that, because that's a lot. And Coach Prime talked about that. He said, they might make NIL, but they're still very young. And I think y'all forget that sometimes, that they're only 17 or 18 years old. And you're trying to tear them down like they're grown men because they make money. And they only doing it because they didn't want them to make the money. So that's basically like, well, now that you got to have it, I'm going to make your life a living hell. Isn't that what they're doing to Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud? Hopefully not Jaden Daniels next year. People are already talking about they're going to baptize Shedeur. Black quarterbacks weren't wanted, but now that you in here, I'm going to make your life a living hell. Why does it always have to be that? We should just be playing football. I noticed Travis didn't do a press conference. No, I didn't notice, Regina. And Sweet Caroline said, yes, I was thinking today. He's the best wide receiver, the best at wide receiver. Yeah, Travis is most impactful at wide receiver. And I'm like, y'all know wide receivers make more money than corners. So why are you trying to slot him the corner? I mean, all that means is it's possible that they're not going to throw the ball on his side. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But definitively, he can score a touchdown 9 times out of 10 as a wide receiver. Look at the catches he caught. Look at the poses he was in when he caught them. I don't even know why you would choose corner over wide receiver, but I'm glad the conversation is happening. And I'm happy that Travis showed up and worked out as a wide receiver, because that was for his benefit. Because people needed to see him run routes and do these things as a wide receiver so they can cut all of this. Oh, he primarily going to be a cornerback. And says who and why? Why wouldn't you use him at what he is best? See, sometimes people try to make you think, oh, you good at what you do. We love you, this, that, and the other. You the best cornerback, and get it, when you really a better wide receiver, and wide receivers make more money. Matter of fact, the award Travis didn't win was for the best cornerback in college football. And people pointed out he didn't even get nominated because there were so many other cornerbacks that were better than him. But this is who they want him to go in the league as. And they want him to think that they really into him because they talk about him 24/7. What they really trying to say? We're going to keep talking about it so we can change your mind and you can abandon the wide receiver, which we know you're good at, and be a corner because he's going to make less money. Jackie said, Shedeur also said it's all in God's hands. They can't trip Shedeur up. Nope, they can't. Very, very smart. Love Shedeur. Most people do. And there's a lot to love. But just keep paying attention to who they want to make the face of the league. Irma said, it's almost like they don't want good black fathers who produce great men as well as athletes. They don't. You know what I heard somebody say today? in the conversation about New Orleans, I didn't hear it, I read it. In a conversation about New Orleans, they said, oh, it would be cool to have Shador in New Orleans, but I don't know if they would have to deal with his father. That was the first comment. I said, why the haters always posting first? Bots. Those are bots. That's why the most negative comment is first sometimes, because they're bots. It's a pattern. And I'm thinking to myself, now why you just want to be a hater? But then I thought about it. You was here first. Nobody else was here. It's not even that many comments. It's a bot. They deal with Coach Prime. Did you just see what he did for CU? Well, that's some damn good dealing. Jerry Jones liked to deal with it, did he? Yeah, but we knew that wasn't gonna work. But the point is, every time, if you see the picture of Jerry Jones approaching Shador and Coach Prime at a Dallas game on the sidelines, I've never seen that man smile because he see money. He know. New Orleans gonna have that conversation. Well, shit, Vegas gonna pass. Shador will be great for the city. Sure would. Sure would. We could move on from their car. We could let Shador start, or we could let him battle it out, see how it go. But it could be good. We could sell our tickets. Yes, you would. You would have people coming from states that don't even have teams. Alabama don't have a pro team. Mississippi don't have a pro team. When I was in New Orleans and I took the picture of that black man and his wife at the casino who was wearing a Coach Prime jersey in New Orleans, notice, in New Orleans, that's why I took the photo. Most of the people that were in there were from Alabama and Mississippi. Everybody's not Atlanta fans. Louisiana's right there. So y'all got to be weary when they quiet and understanding when it comes to somebody whose character and behavior presents itself like Anthony Edwards and trying to push him to be the face of the league. And then all the while they tearing Shador down. You know what somebody said in NFL Network comments today? They said, you know what? This was very unprofessional of these reporters. They did nothing but try to tear him down. I'm going to talk about this on every platform I go to. That's what y'all need to do. When you see the negativity, just make a comment. This is say something. You don't have to write an essay. Call it out. Because it looks bad when the comments are all the same, saying that the network itself is biased. I can't think of one reason, personal or professional, why they will be tearing down Shador Sanders at his pro day. Why the hell did you even come? You should have took your PTO. Why did the network send them? And the network is NFL Network, which is obviously supposed to be neutral to everybody. But clearly they have a favorite. And even if you had a personal favorite, the fact that all three of y'all are trying to trash him at his own pro day, it looks planned. It looks like a collaborative effort. I don't like that. So I said something about it, and a lot of other people said something about it. So when y'all see them tearing him down, say something in the comments. So yeah, no, they don't want to acknowledge that Coach Prime, a black man and father who was hands-on with his kids, raised 3 young men who don't have baby mamas, who don't have negative situations, none of them ever been arrested. They don't fit the stereotype. They don't fit the stereotype. Coach Prime doesn't fit the stereotype. What did he do when he came into the league? He did it his way. He played baseball and he played football. I watched the documentary. They didn't want that. The baseball people hated it worse than the football people did. The Falcons just wanted him to focus on them. The baseball people tried to get rid of him because they didn't want him there at all. I don't know how King Griffey Jr. and his son made it. I really don't. I would love to know what their time was like. What about Pat Mahomes' father? He seems to have some trauma that he's experienced. How was he treated in professional baseball? They want Pat Mahomes to distance himself from his own brother because I guess he liked to dance in his TikToks. That's a problem for them. But he don't do it because that's his brother. That says something about him. He ought to be tired. So when it's a good, black, successful, wealthy person that does not fit the stereotype, they get torn down. So it's because Shedeur either sat at the top of the NIL food chain. He's wealthy, young, black, rich, confident. He don't fit the stereotype. He's not Anthony Edwards. They love him. If there was a white player with those types of issues that Anthony Edwards has, abandoning his children, 4 different women with 4 baby mamas, all under the age of 5, you would never know about it. You know how you know? Deshaun Watson and Justin Tucker. So let's get back to the video. So that's what Coach Prime had to say. Once these students started making NIL, it just seemed like they started tearing them down, as if to say, well, I didn't want you with the NIL, so I'm going to make your life hell. Same thing they do with the black quarterbacks in the league. All right, so it said that Shiloh ran a 4.52 and a 4.47, just like Jimmy Horn Jr. ran a 4.40. The term is, what did they say? I don't know what the U is for. I forgot. Untimed, unofficial, something like that. Here's my thought about the unofficial. I don't know. I'm a lover of stats and analytics and numbers and all this, right? And I'm the biggest proponent of data that there probably is. However, why is that so much of a big deal? Because when I put these pads on, I'm not going to be running the 40-yard dash every day on the field with no pads on. Nobody is. So I don't know why it's a big deal that it's official or unofficial. But to me, if you run a 4.40, cool. If Shiloh ran a 4.47, excellent. They said safeties technically run about 4.59s. They don't run 4.2s and 4.3s typically. Shiloh's going to be fine in the NFL. I hate to be the one to break the hearts of the haters. He's getting drafted. Who knows where, but he's getting drafted. BJ Green is another player who walked on to Colorado, but BJ Green played youth ball with Coach Prime. And when Coach Prime was BJ Green's coach, BJ Green wanted to be a running back, and Coach Prime said, no, you're a lineman. So when BJ Green walked on to Colorado after leaving Arizona State, he became a newcomer in the Big 12. He got noticed when he went to Big 12 Pro Day for his shuttles, the 3-cone drills, the 3-cone drills. He stood out. So today he ran a 4.59 as a linebacker. He stood out. So he should also get drafted. Chidozie, bench 30 reps at 225, 5 more than Big 12 Pro Day. He should also get drafted. He was discussed before the combine even took place, before the Hula Bowl took place. So Colorado got quite a few players that should go in the league. Did anybody see Cameron Silver-Craig or Justin Mayers and heard anything about them today? I think they did press conferences, but I don't know if they worked out. So let's tally as to who it is that did exceptionally well. Shedeur Sanders, best deep ball in college football. We know he's hella accurate. We know he's tough. He's, in my opinion, he's not a pure pocket passer. He might be like a Joe Burrows, but he can get his butt out that pocket and scramble with the best of them. They don't want that. I think they are so threatened by dual threat quarterbacks that they just want to make it go away, which is why they don't like Jalen Milroe. But how you going to deny 4.37? They try to say he only uses his legs. They don't want him to be Lamar Jackson so bad. They've been trying to hold Lamar Jackson back so bad. And guess what? Here comes Jalen Milroe. Well, goddamn, I can't hold them both back. No, you can't. And it's going to be a third one. There's a kid at Ole Miss that's a prodigy. He's a quarterback. If I'm not mistaken, I don't even know if he's 17 yet. He's young like Juju. Let's see how long he stay at Ole Miss. Let's see if they treat him right. You never know. He might end up at Colorado in a year or two. He's underage, just like Juju. He's a dual threat quarterback. Caden is a dual threat quarterback. I saw a prelim list of quarterbacks coming in 2025. Colorado wasn't even on the list. That's crazy. Liberty has been to a bowl game every year since Caden was there and had a perfect season. How many of the people on that list has had a perfect season? I know Caden is ready to get out there. I saw an excellent interview with Juju on the Pivot. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It was Juju and a player who played for LSU, a receiver, but transferred to Oregon. They both are young and were interviewed by the Pivot. Excellent interview. Juju did really well. He said he actually takes online classes. He used the term, he said, I don't really get to be around the regular people. I knew what he meant. He stays away from campus. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit so I can understand what is their college experience like. If you stay away from campus, take your classes online, you just play football and leave, you don't get to do the regular stuff. That's going to be a different podcast. I'm just curious. I'm like, because, I went to college, it was fun. I guess it's kind of like when you're in your junior year and your senior year, you don't live in a freshman dorm or a sophomore dorm, you're focused on graduating. So you normally just go to class and go home, but it's online. So it seems like there's really no college life. Like we said, college is some of the best years of your life, but it doesn't seem like they get to get involved in anything. I guess it's a choice. They just take classes online, just like Shedeur and Travis did. So I kind of want to look more into that and kind of find out more about it if I can. But if you have some insight, feel free to let me know. All right. So it says, sister, the reverse psychology is insane. It is. Not only is it insane, it's happening instead of 24/7, it's happening 25/8. And it's happening in places where you don't expect it to happen. Like, what is the NBA's mantra? That they're supposed to be not just social justice, but they had the jerseys and this, that, and the other. But subliminally, they choose an Anthony Edwards over everybody else in that league. There's a young man named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander who's from Canada, and he has a cousin in the league. This kid is supposed to be the truth. Now, Anthony Edwards hurt his ankle. I don't know if he's going to be out, but let's see what happens in terms of this other kid and see if he ever makes it up the chain. But then there's Jaylen Brown, who stood up and said what? He wanted to create another Tulsa because the other one burned down, right? They used Stephen A. to tear him down after he won finals MVP. And they put Jason Tatum over him. And Stephen A's response was, well, you're not marketable. They sent Stephen A to do the dirty work to tear him down because he wanted to stand up and fight for Black people. How is it in a league that's predominantly Black, you upset that somebody champions social justice for Black people? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. That's Colin Kaepernick in the NFL, and the NFL being majority Black, but they upset because I care about Black issues. That's shut up and dribble. And they trying to go back to that. After all of the progress, or maybe it was just optics. And they wonder why their ratings suffer. So, you got to be, I think James Baldwin said it best. When you Black in America, you are consistently in a state of rage. Now, some people going to read that and take it the wrong way, that we walking around angry or whatever. No, Black people are here again, trying to learn the line dance. I know I am. I keep watching the TikToks and I'm like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to need to give me a fan. Don't be surprised if I show up with a fan. So we still have Black Boy Joy and Black Girl Magic, and we just minding our business and doing our own thing. But it's so many people minding our business, trying to mind our business for us and tell us what our business should be. And we're seeing this with Anthony Edwards and Shedeur Sanders and how they're treated, or Deshaun Watson and Justin Tucker and how their situations were treated. It's getting loud. It's getting loud. So Shedeur in New Orleans, I think is good. So we'll see if it happens. It said, hey family, just checking in. Finished watching the well-off video for Pro Day. Okay. It said it was so touching seeing all of the brothers showing up for one another. Yep. All Black excellence. Blessings to all. Absolutely. Absolutely. Last year, or year one, when Travis and Shedeur got to Colorado, people were trying to tear them apart. You know what they were doing? They were saying, much like they did today, why would Travis show up for Shedeur to throw? What? Oh, so you didn't hear all season long that they called the dynamic duo. They want to act like that didn't exist. They was hoping it didn't exist. They don't want the unity. They don't want the brotherhood. That's not what they want. Let me tell you what they really want. They want exactly what Travis was falling the trap into. Him going his own way, acting like I got what I needed by. That's what they wanted. When they first got there, they was trying to pit them together. Oh, I hope Travis don't start wearing jewelry. That's not him. We like him how he is. Excuse me? So then last year, when Travis signed his Adidas contract, Adidas sent him a chain with the 3 stripes, a little gold chain or whatever. Travis, he had a little jewelry, but that's just not his personality. That doesn't mean it's wrong for Shedeur to do it. I mean, I don't understand how with 30 million Black men, do you think they all the same? So they tried to take Travis and hold him up like Cam and try to tear Shedeur down. I'm like, Shedeur is wealthy. That's what's bothering you. So when Adidas got Travis the chain and he wore it, they were like, oh, Travis is wearing jewelry now. I'm like, the funny thing is, you was trying to pick him apart and choosing Travis like he can't wear right now, but you still was trying to snub Travis from the Heisman. So you really don't care. You don't like Travis. You just need somebody to pit against Shedeur. If it ain't Travis, now it's Cam Ward. It's going to always be somebody else. But he's still going to be Black, educated, gifted, wealthy, excellent. So for the people who fall into the trap of the division of trying to take you and put you up here while dragging him, that's why when Travis came out and said, yeah, they trying to put Shedeur down, I was happy because that's what he was supposed to do. But that's not what they wanted him to do. And he ought to know, bro, ain't no point in you going along and being silent while they tearing down Shedeur, because if they liked you, they will be putting you up as wide receiver because you will make more money. See how that worked? So that's why Cam Ward got to be careful out here. Because why it seems like they keep saying, oh, he the number 1 quarterback in the draft, but he the first pick in the draft. Oh, we going to see. We going to see. Because all they really are saying is, oh, well, Shedeur not going number 1 because that's what they don't want. But Shedeur don't want to go to the worst team in the league. I would not either. Especially a team that has the opportunity to get Travis Hunter, who just won the Heisman, who said he even wants to live in Tennessee, who get married in Tennessee, and they not even considering him. Not that I want him in Tennessee, but you understand, see what I'm saying? Travis even brought it up. He said, I'm the number 1. He said, I'm the Heisman pick. And they trying to get Cam Ward number 1? So what the hell does the Heisman mean? It might mean a lot of you are going to see you. It might. So for all of that talk about Travis, why isn't he going number 1 to Tennessee? Do you see how that works? They don't like Cam. They don't like Travis. They need somebody to pit against Shedeur because they don't want him to go first. And when he's like, I don't care if I go first, they're like, God damn it, I got to find something else. Oh, he want to go to Vegas. Oh, Geno Smith is going to Vegas. And he like, I don't care where I go. Oh, shit, now that don't matter. What I got to do now? They don't know what to do now. Because he like, well, whatever guy I pick, I'm cool with. Can't argue with that. So now you got to go figure out something else. But time is running out. The draft is coming. Shedeur said he don't need his name called first. He just wanted to be drafted before his dad. How many times you hear him tell that story? Because then it's going to remind you of Coach Prime's greatness. They can't talk about him not being arrogant, when he say, I just want to get drafted before my dad. It's like, oh shit, now we got to talk about Coach Prime. Damn. Pro Day was excellent. I love the fact that it was a showcase. Ain't hard to find showcase. Trust me when I say they thought a competitive spring game was going to be a recruiting disadvantage. Touche. Because you tried to stop a whole damn football game, trying to stop Colorado's recruiting, and here we come with the showcase. Believe me, they was knocking on doors before they saw that. I guess there's a guy that plays in the NFL named Champ Bailey. He was over there giving advice to DJ McKinney and some other people. You think players not gonna see that? That's an advantage. The showcase was an advantage. And Coach Prime thought of it, just like he thought of the spring game. And they said no to the spring game, but they couldn't say no to the showcase. See how that worked? That's why you don't worry about people when they try to stop what you got going on, because they don't control everything. In fact, I did hear somebody on one channel make this one comment about Coach Prime. He controls everything that's happening over there at CU. He did it at Jackson State. He's doing it at CU, and he's doing a mighty fine job. Now, what the NCAA gonna say about that? Nothing, because they didn't know. And even if they did, they couldn't stop it. CU is clearly on board with Coach Prime. So how do you like them apples? We didn't get a competitive spring game, but we got a hell of a showcase. So until next year, exactly. When your adrenaline is high, you run faster. It says Stephen A. can never be trusted. Nah, he can't. And that's who was out there today. Louis Riddick was there today. He actually was on his best behavior. He was talking to Coach Prime, I think. And I think that was the interview where Coach Prime said at the end he liked the black and gold. And Louis Riddick was like, oh, so Louis Riddick works for ESPN. And the guy in the middle wasn't, they were tearing him up in the comments. He worked for ESPN. They said whatever his name was, he was a white guy. He's like, whatever his name was, he's sitting there like he not tearing down Shedeur 24/7 because he's sitting next to Coach Prime. I was like, they said, see how fake these reporters are? So even though, so this is what is called when God can bring good from bad, right? What was bad was they denied the spring game. We all wanted to see it happen, but the good that came next, the showcase, they couldn't stop it, right? So stuff like that. And you got this announcer sitting in the middle trying to figure out what he gonna say. He's sitting in between Coach Prime and Louis Riddick. And meanwhile, in the comments, people talking about how negative he is about Shedeur and how he's sitting up there pretending in Coach Prime's face. So the good that's coming from it is we get to see who these people really are, and we get to actively tune them out. There are YouTubers out here who have better analysis and don't even have that kind of negativity. They're just reporting facts. Facts are neutral. They're not either true or false. They're facts. And if you stick to the facts, if you stick to the stats, what's all the negativity for? If you report Shedeur's stats, you don't have to add in that his arm is weak because it don't make sense. You can't be the most accurate passer, the best deep ball QB, and have a weak arm. The stats says that that's a lie. So why are you lying? You never know the depths of how people really feel about it. Yeah. And it's funny because there are people who are vulnerable, who looking for love and attention, who some are weak-minded. That's just the term. And they just like attention. And it's that person. And it's like they try everybody to see who I'm going to get. Right. And one of the things when Travis was kind of going off on his own, I was so happy to see him today. He was comfortable. Somebody in the comments, Damon maybe, or Kiel, came to the comments and said, I think the NFL draft process has given him a lot of confidence. I said, of course it has. Remember all of the reporters that were around him at the combine? Now, this is a young man who walking out here thinking that he got to be validated by a woman. But then he go to the combine, something he ain't really focused on because somebody on the other end of his phone or making him think that he don't need to dress nice when he not around them. He at the combine and all the reporters in the room are talking to him, and there is only one or two reporters talking to a few other people simultaneously, and he can see this. That was a confidence booster. That was the beginning of I am somebody without her. Then I go to see you, and I'm up there with my brothers. After I go to my brother's game, and I'm focused on my brother. Then I go to see you. I'm focused on my brothers. I didn't see her. She might have been there. They said Miss Pilar and Shalimar were there supporting. It was a lot of people I saw on the side. There were celebrities there today. He seemed happy and confident. And if she wasn't there, it's because she can't be there. Because it would change him, the dynamic of the vibe in the room. And that should be very telling to him. Who I saw today on that field with those guys, catching the passes from Shedeur, being supportive of Shedeur, coming to support Shedeur, because we say he didn't show up at the Shrine Bowl. We thought his behavior was a little untoward at the Alamo Bowl. But after going to his brother's game, going to the combine, and he didn't seem to be all of that united with them at the combine. After his brother's game, after the combine, and today, I said Travis is back. But he got to keep his home life separate from his real world life. And at some point, it's going to click. He going to meet somebody that he don't have to do that with. And sometimes that's what it takes. Talking to other people, which is why people who try to manipulate you don't want you talking to other people. Just like they didn't want Black people to read. Reading brings knowledge. Meeting and talking to people brings awareness of behaviors. Oh, this girl's nice to me. She not disrespectful to me. She don't ask me to pay for this, that, and the other for her family. That's called inexperience, and it's going to take time. But today, I said, Travis is back. And I love to see it. He was in the huddle with them. Shedeur, they had on the perfect timing song. Shedeur was popping up his little chain, doing his little dance. And Travis was like, I don't have a chain. And it was like, we're going to get you a chain or something like that, you know. But he was pointing out that, yeah, I don't have it. I need to get something. In other words, it's not like he was going, which is what people want him to do. There were people who saw that huddle with them in it and hated to see it. But then there were people that said, this is a quarterback's dream. To have the QB and the receivers all in the huddle laughing and talking with chemistry, which is why they were so good on the field today. And Draylon Miller is bossed up. I'm so proud of him. He made the sacrifice, or for whatever reason, he was still at CU when everybody left, and he didn't just stay in his room. He worked out, he got noticed, and he was chosen. It's going to be some people who are upset about that. Thankfully, he ain't the QB where the O-line could, let him falter. He don't get drafted to 2027, and in 2025, he on the field catching passes from future QB wide receivers. You think he don't have their phone number? When it's his time, they gonna show up for him. He got exposure today. People know his name. What did Coach Prime say was the goal? For the scouts to go, who was that? You're going to hear Draylon Miller's name this season and watch, you're going to come right back to today. Oh, that's who was on the field. That's who was on the field catching passes from Shedeur. I heard a guy who I didn't know was related to Dylan Raiola, who was the QB at Nebraska. He was proud to say that that's his cousin or his nephew or something. And that Dylan Raiola was throwing passes to Nebraska QBs before he even went to Nebraska. So it's not unheard of. So that's good for Draylon to do that. I know his mama was happy. That puts him that much closer to the pin, and he gonna work that much harder to get up here and to stay up here and keep elevating. 2027 gonna be here before you know it. But he was out there today, so I'm proud of him. Been practicing boots on the ground. Okay, Sweet Caroline, because I keep watching them do it, and then I noticed they all got the same hunting pants. I was saying today, black people, I think they brought all the damn hunting pants out the store. They talking about we done bought up all the boots, all the fans, and all the hunting pants. But I'm watching. Y'all gonna see me. I'm gonna find a fan. I keep telling them at home, I'm like, I gotta get me a fan. And somebody said Louis Vuitton that made a fan. I said, now see, that means you know your customer. I'm not buying a Louis Vuitton fan. I'm gonna go find me one though. Y'all gonna see me up here, but it's little kids that know how to do the dance. So I feel a little like I gotta get it. Cause this little kids got their little fans and they doing it. I said, okay, I gotta get with this. It looked like they're having so much fun. And I just want to learn how to do it. So when we go somewhere, I'm gonna be right there. Boots on the ground. Probably gonna be New Orleans. I told y'all, if Tennessee was against Shador, I told y'all what the deal was gonna be. Now, if New Orleans gets Shador, when y'all see me, I'll be like, live from New Orleans. Because y'all know whenever I'm down there, I got on my Buffs jacket. When we were down there for New Year's Eve, I had my Buffs jacket on, and they were like skull buffs all over the place. For Mardi Gras, I had on my Buff jacket when I was interviewing people. So I'm always repping Colorado in the city. So if we get Shador, that's just going to be a lock. And then if CU gets to play UT in the Sugar Bowl, oh, that's just going to be awesome. Just going to be awesome. So it says, yes, don't bring your home to your job or bring your job home. It was good to see the first class successful event today. Yep. And the brotherhood and overall CU spirit. Oh, I loved it. When I saw them do the huddle at the end, I was like, oh, and y'all, I got a little misty-eyed when it first came on, the pro day, because I saw Shador and Travis, you know, like dap each other up or whatever. And then I saw some of the other guys. Man, Jimmy Horn Jr., his confidence is on 1,000. And it should be. I'm telling you, Jimmy Horn Jr. needs to be a first-round draft pick. Before we get out of here, let me check and see if I got any people to vote on the poll. Also, too, episode 4 of Listen Up, the Listen Up podcast from What She Said Sports is out. It's about Shador Sanders and Pro Day. This is for people who are on the go. I memorialized the event. In other words, I did a reaction to Pro Day as it was happening. Remember, it's an audio podcast. So far, people seem to like it. So it's starting to get some numbers. It says Shiloh actually ran a 4.4. The real 40 times in footage. Okay, so Well Off Media got a new video saying that Shiloh actually ran a 4.4. So y'all gonna have to check that one out. I think Crowley said she had just finished watching the video. So I'm gonna ask her. Crowley, what did they say Shiloh ran? If you still on here. While I'm looking for, let's see if I can find a poll. Here it is. Let's see how many people said what. All right. Did we get anybody? I said, so I had a poll. It says Shador Sanders to New Orleans. Love it or not? It said 80% said yes. Who that? 20% said no. It's not a good fit. Okay. So I have some people voting. And most of the people like it. That's what I told y'all. The consensus is people really like Shador to New Orleans. It's people that don't like it, but that's not surprising. And it says, oh, the CU NFL showcase was a success. And I talked about what a journey it was for Coach Prime and Shador Sanders going to coming out of college, going to Jackson State, so I was just looking at the latest post. So yeah, we got people in the poll basically saying we like Shador Sanders to the New Orleans Saints. Right now, I'm loving it because I think he could start there. And if they didn't let him start, I think it would end up the Atlanta Falcons situation with Michael Penix Jr. What I do find interesting about Atlanta is that Kirk Cousins is supposedly the quarterback to go to the. Did I tell y'all about that? How it looked like there's some kind of effort to get Kirk Cousins out of Atlanta with that brand new, shiny, expensive contract to go to the Titans instead of drafting a quarterback. and maybe getting Abdul Carter. So Kirk Cousins is so pressed that he can't play behind Michael Penix Jr. You see that? I don't like that. If you didn't do well, why don't you just sit back and try to get better and allow him and let him go, and then you work on your development? But no, you got to move because you just can't be second fiddle to a rookie quarterback. Now that's egotistical right there. It's not like he did well. I could see if he did well, but he didn't. These haters are going to always be haters. Yep. Hey, 22. It's not about Shedeur talent. It's the culture and confidence. Right. Shedeur doesn't fit a stereotype at all. But hell, they don't like Milroe, and he basically Lamar Jackson. And it sounds like if you compare somebody to Lamar Jackson, they don't like the person. And they try to stop Lamar Jackson, but I want to see him stop Milroe and Lamar Jackson. And they could go ahead because it's going to be somebody else. It's going to be somebody else. While you looking over here to the right trying to stop this person, it's going to be two more over here to the left. That's how it goes. It's called the feint, F-E-N-T. Yes, Shiloh ran a 4.4. Coach Prime has to buy him a car. Oh, he did. Oh, wow. Okay. I thought Coach Prime said he didn't run a 4.4, but he did run a 4.4. Okay, I'm going to have to go watch that. Congratulations to Shiloh. I told y'all he getting drafted. I don't know. Well, not y'all, but the haters really were in the comments today when they said they heard he ran like a 4.59 or something. They was like, I told y'all he's slow. And people were like, he's a free safety. That's about average. Everybody thinks that what receivers run is what every other position is supposed to run in the 40. And that tells me that they don't know much about football. Champ Bailey was UGA's Travis Hunter back in the day. Oh, okay. Gracie, does he play in the NFL right now? Because he's the guy that was there today. He was giving advice to DJ McKinney and two other players. So these guys are getting exposure, like from, I don't know if he's in the NFL or not, or if he used to be, but they clearly were hanging on to his every word because he was giving advice to like three of them. So there were celebrities there today too. So, all right, y'all. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the Pro Day content. I tried my best to, that's Shiloh with his 4.47. I wonder if that's what he meant when he said 4.4. It could be. There is Will Shepherd. This is let me go back. That's Will Shepherd. And that's it. Okay. This is Shedeur talking to Sean Payton. So the Denver Broncos were there. Remember they said Will Shepherd was also talking to Denver. I'm going to assume they mean Sean Payton. Or maybe it was other people there. So Denver was in the building. And this is Coach Prime talking to the guy from the Giants. See, his thing says Giants. This is the person they said wasn't there today, but clearly he's talking to Coach Prime. Body language. So, and here is offensive newcomer of the year, BJ Green. He ran a 4.59, which is good for a lineman. This young man, we need to watch and see where he ends up. He should not be an undrafted free agent. I want y'all to know, everybody outside of Shedeur and Travis, they had going as undrafted free agent. Jimmy, LaJonte, Will Shepherd, Shiloh, BJ, Justin Mayers, probably Frank Bassett, everybody. I'm telling y'all, Mark Bassett, everybody. They were the only two that had first, second, were in a round. The rest were undrafted free agents. Champ is in the Hall of Fame. Okay, Kiel. So he used to play. Okay, all right. Okay, so he was a Travis Hunter, huh? So he was out there giving advice today, and they seem to be hanging on to his every word. But yeah, we need to keep an eye on BJ Green. And just kind of hopefully, I think he's gonna end up somewhere. I don't think you get those kind of accolades. There's Chidozie. Same thing. I think Chidozie's gonna get drafted as well. So we just gonna have to see where our guys end up. We only 20 days out, guys. 20 days out. I will be live for the draft on the first day. Now, my daughter's graduating from college, so I gotta make a move to Texas. A trip to Texas, and I'll probably be there for a minute. So I'm gonna be going live from Texas again. That's how this started. It was hot, I never forget, but that's how all of this started. Then I just came back home to Atlanta. This is what I posted for Jimmy, that this young man should definitely be a late first round pick. So like I said, I guess since we 20 days out, there's Draylon Miller bossed up at Pro Day. We're gonna have to keep an eye on our guys to see where they land. We still gonna have this video, so we're gonna look back because the people I saw or I knew worked out, I put them in this video. Again, if you know anything about Cameron Silver Craig and Justin Mayers, if they worked out today, let me know. We'll be looking out for them as well. I didn't hear anything about Shane Cokes or Travis J. I didn't hear anything about those people, so I'm gonna have to look. Cardell Thomas, I don't know exactly. They were on the list, but there were certain workouts that were not televised. I saw Will Shepherd because people were recording it. I saw Bucky recording it. There were other people, but I think only Shadour's throwing session to the receivers and maybe Shiloh's 40-yard dash were televised. I don't know. So it says Cameron. Oh, he ran a 4.5, and Justin Mayers bench press 229 21 times. Okay, they did good. Wow. Okay. 4.57. That's about what. He's a defensive person, right? Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Is he a safety, a nickel, a corner? I don't know what he is, but I think that's pretty good. All right, so we'll have to keep an eye on them. Thank you for that, 22. I appreciate it. All right, y'all, it's Friday night. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to go have a little bit of fun. Don't forget, check out the playlist for Listen Up podcast, the audio podcast from What She Said Sports, the newest entry, which is Shadour Sanders and the showcase. That's what I talked about today, the reaction. I was watching it live, recording my reactions and talking about it and giving commentary. So go check it out. If you're on the go, take it with you. YouTube podcast, or you can just go to the page. You don't even have to need a separate app. You can go to What She Said page, click on playlist, and click on Listen Up, and it should be 4 episodes out now. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Until next time, there are 19 of us in here. Please, please, please let there be 19 likes. I'm going to put on the outro, give us time to wrap up our conversations. And I'll see y'all Saturday night, 10 p.m. All right, guys. Good night.
Yeah, welcome fam, it's Survive. Break it down, talking sports, hard hustle. Where the crowd, subscribe to the journey. Don't sleep on the grind. Hit the like button. Come on, don't be blind. Hit that like, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes. Together we rose, reaching higher and higher. From hoops to the griddle, we cover it all. Champions rise and together we never fall. Join the fam, we celebrate every win. What she said, let's meet where the passion begins. Hit that like, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes. Together we rose, reaching higher and higher.